Well, I like that picture earlier.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. We're going to get started with the meeting right now. We'll call the meeting to order. It is 10:55 a.m. Al, you want to do roll call, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair. District 1.
Here.
District 2.
Here.
District 3.
Here.
We have a quorum. Yeah, big witch. Next up is review and approval of the agenda. I'll probably announce it on the thing too, because I think that they don't get a copy of it. First off is going to be, of course, all the stuff that we do before the meeting, approve meeting minutes. We don't have nothing. But next up is going to be Lisa MacArthur and Scott Almond and Clinton for capital projects, Pat Butler and IHS and joint venture. We'll take a break. At 12:45 is Mitch Berg, City Monoman. 1 o'clock is Adam Fairbanks, Indoor Villages pilot project presentation for the urban area. We're looking at being a partner with the city, so it's going to be a good presentation. The Whiteout Fire Department request new business is Vice Chair and TEC Finance, signature request and executive sessions on a couple things. So that's our agenda for today, unless we go around and add and ask. And so, does anybody want to add anything to the agenda?
What about the Boys and Girls Club, Mr. Chair?
B&G, okay, we can talk about that. I know one thing, reaching out to other Boys and Girls Club stuff, Ray, is, I know that Dana and I think the Education Department and, we're gonna have to look at maybe doing a new model, a different model of creating a 501c3 from B&G to become their own entity, because I think they'll be eligible for a lot more grants and stuff. So these are things that we could look at. I'm not gonna say we're going to do it, but it's all of us in council here to look at what's going to be best for our boys and girls. Because right now, B&G is under our 331 account, and so we're looking at how we're going to delicately move this along. So these are things that we can discuss, Ray. You're good.
They said a couple of them got told to clean their desks out.
Yeah, we'll have Lori check on that. So.
Right, and then what about that power money now? They said they don't know where it's coming from, and Ray Spike is. Could their little deal is coming up here next weekend, and they want to know if that money's coming or.
Yeah, I know we got a request from Nadawash too for. I know we allocate each community $25,000. So. I mean, if we want to talk about that and release that funds to these communities for assistance, I mean, we could surely do that, huh?
Yeah, can we bring Scott in?
Yeah, we'll bring Scott in on that one, so.
And then, Mr. Chair, I was talking with John Beckhurst about that wild rice.
Yeah.
And he had some sort of budget or a resolution he was going to bring forward today.
He was going to ask about planning disbursements, at certain times. I know that we talked about today, and also like a vehicle. And I let John know today that we have to follow our procurement policy. So if you're going to go out and look for a vehicle specifically for one, like for buying for rice or hauling rice, is that we need specs and we need to get that out to dealerships that can bid on this. So that's the process of our procurement policy. So and then also I know the finances of buying rice. I know right now he said he has roughly from the 50,000 we allocated him a few days ago, that he has like 20,000 left over. But I mean, right now we're coming up to the holiday weekend, where I think there's going to be more ricers on the lake. He's going to probably need some more money, but in realization, we're going to have to start looking at, instead of coming to the council every time he gets really low, is how are we going to set aside that money for them? Because I know early mid September when Big Rice opens, they're going to need a lot of money down there. So.
Well, we could just pass like a budget for them on resolution. and just have them a bulk money, and then every time they get low, they can go and pull from that
Yeah, yeah,
budget.
So, but I'm not sure what the amount, I mean, we could probably get Monica on the phone.
Yeah, Monica.
Yeah, we'll get Monica on the phone too, okay, Ray, for that budget?
Monica Rice Baker. And then, what, did you guys, they talking about that USDA contract then?
Yeah, we talked about that this morning too a little bit, and I know that, they're talking about organics, and I think that we're gonna reach out to, Tommy Bement and Everwho, the ones that worked on it last year. We're gonna reach out to USDA and look at, you know, even upping our price, cause our rice is deemed organic, you know, so. I think this is what we'll have to have them come up and find out what they come up with, Tom and them come up with, so. Okay. Anything else? Motion to approve the agenda?
I do have a question for Raymond,
Okay.
and that is, what date are you thinking of having your call
Just a 1-day deal, it's on the 12th, Sunday.
on the 12th?
It's like a little healing hall and demolition derby. Or Saturday, I'm sorry.
All right.
The 12th, I think it is.
Yeah, because I know NATO Wash is having their, is it that same weekend too? Or is it the weekend after?
I thought it was the weekend after.
Okay, well, good, then it'll coincide, I mean.
I think it's what the weekend after. Because
Okay,
they
good.
didn't want to lecture with NATO Wash, so it wouldn't hurt either one.
Good.
What time is that, Rick?
I'm not sure. There's a poster on, if you look under the Rice Lake Community Council, they got a Facebook page.
Oh, okay.
I think it's noon, I think. I'll make sure and find out.
Okay. All right, thanks, Ray. Motion to approve the agenda.
Motion.
Motion by Kathy, second.
Second.
Second by Cheryl, all in favor?
Aye.
Right?
Motion carries. All right, next up is review approval of the meeting minutes. Like I said, we have no minutes. The calendar review, anything on the calendar? I know Patina Parks canceled yesterday's meeting. I know she wanted to reschedule for September 8th, I do believe. Is that what it is, Lori?
Actually, I think it's September 9th for Patina.
And she works along with Governor Waltz and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, so she wanted to come up and kind of talk to the council and find out what, you know, what our priorities and what we're looking at. And so she kind of wanted to, you know, be that buffer too and hear from us directly. So it'll be a good meeting next week, so. So the 9th, okay.
Gonna have the meeting, the regular meeting on the 9th? Are you gonna have a meeting on the 9th?
Let me see. No, our next meeting will be on the 10th. Does the 10th sound good for you guys next Thursday?
Yeah, next Thursday.
At 9 a.m.?
So Patina wanted it in the morning of the 9th? Would that work?
I think it was like at 1 last time, wasn't it? Remember what our appointment was last time?
I'm not sure what her appointment was, but in her request she sent on September 1st, she said would like to meet September 9th in the morning if that's an option. Then that way she could drive up on the September 8th date.
Yeah, we'll plan it that day if you guys' calendars are light, so.
Yeah.
I know we had a really good meeting with Senator Smith and Congressman Peterson, so, you know, that went very well, so.
Yeah.
So we also have a request from Vern LaPlante. He would like to set up a meeting with you all to prepare for the tribal summit and the legislative priorities. The tribal summit will be at the end of September, so he was looking for some dates in September that he could meet and match up with your guys' schedule.
Well, I know we got some, you probably have to follow up on this too, Lori, with commissioners coming up, because we're doing consultation, and I'm not sure if
That's on the 9th, isn't it?
yeah, next week, I know what, we were gonna meet with commissioners of revenue and the commissioner of, public safety next week.
How are we getting the other one?
She can come in the morning, like 10 o'clock, or,
We have a 10 o'clock with Department of Revenue.
We could do it at noon, I guess. Are you gonna do, will noon work for you, Annie?
Patina at noon?
Yeah, we could do it 11:30 or noon.
Okay. And how about Vern? You want them called on the same day?
No, because we got.
Too many on that day? Okay.
We'll have to book it probably maybe Friday or something. See what works best for him. I mean, Tuesday we're gonna open on the 8th. How's the 8th sound for you guys?
Yeah. Time?
And I think Lori get an email out for us for that, for Patina.
Sure.
Mm.
And then we have a request from Christy Haverkamp, Gaming Commission. She's specifically requesting September 17th at 9 a.m. And then a financial meeting at 11 a.m.
You guys good with that?
Yeah.
All right, put that in our calendars.
Okay, and we have,
This will be canceled. For Gaming Commission?
We're just moving it up.
I know, because Scott was mentioning that he wanted to take time off, but I know, I don't know, he has to come back, he'll cut his little vacation short, so come in for a day, so.
so that request was the Gaming Commission meeting request
Okay.
for September 17th at 9 a.m.
Okay.
And then financial meeting at 11 a.m.
Yeah, we don't have to be there at 9, we can be there at 10 after they meet with some of the,
Casino.
I know they wanted to pass some of their finance stuff for next year. And
Yeah.
you know, one of the things I had Mike Smith look at too was, to look at some generators, because our casino in Monona doesn't have a generator.
Yeah.
So if we ever get zapped out of power, we're held, you know, to the mercy of the power line. So I think I had him go out and look, and because we gave the casino some money this year for chillers and whatnot, and if we can't get that, maybe we can look at buying some natural gas generators to subsidize some of the power use over there, because right now with Otter Tail, our electric bills at both sites is around 1.6, I think, or $1.7 million in electricity we use a year. So if we could, you know, if we're paying 11, 12 cents a watt or even more during peak time, we should be running our generators at 4 cents, 3 to 4 cents a watt.
Yeah.
You know, so we're saving money. So I think that's what we need to look at, is like, you know, talking to other tribes. You know, I know Morongo out in California, they're off the grid. So they use strictly nothing but generators to run their casinos.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so we have other gaming facilities out there that are using generators to run their casinos. So, I mean, these are things we can look at. I mean, this is something I'm just throwing out there to the council that, you know, if we're going down the road of renewable energies, or looking at energy alternatives of saving the tribe money, and if we could buy generators at a good price and utilize them at certain peaks time of the day, that we could save the tribe lots of money. So there'll be a return on the investment on this. So.
We have another request as well, and that would be from St. Cloud State University. They'd like to come and meet in person after September 14th to support Native American students in education and plans for American Indian students to graduate with college degrees to expand knowledge and skills and strengthen tribal people and communities.
And they want to meet with council or with their education department, or?
It looks like it's a request to meet with council.
Well, give us a day. You can organize that one. Just email it to everyone and find out what's best, or who can come that day, or in the future this year. So.
Sounds good. And then I have two more. There's one for tribal consultation with Minnesota Public Utilities Commission. And there's dates of September 14th, 16th, 21st, 23rd, and 28th.
Now, is that the Department of Commerce then?
It says, let's see here.
Is that from who?
Minnesota Public Utilities Commission.
Oh,
Okay.
is that for the line stuff? Probably.
Doesn't have a lot of information. It just says Public Utilities Commission.
Okay.
Invite Frank to that one.
Yeah, we probably want to get some attorneys with us to meet with us. And I know I sent out the email today on one of the, there's something to do with Enbridge applying for some permits for their storage. So I sent it to Frank and Veronica, so.
All right, and I think this final one is just a opportunity for online information on, from the University of Minnesota Extension Center for community offering online services. I'm not really sure what all that's about, but.
Okay, just dig more and get an email to all of us to see what works.
Okay.
Oh, that was gonna be a separate conversation. The boys and girls?
Yeah, we gotta get a plan from Dana and Ron, what we're gonna do with that, because right now it's under our umbrella. It used to be their own 501c3, I thought.
Yeah.
And if you look at the ones around us, like Detroit Lakes they have a mega building, bigger than the council, I think. Then they have Cass Lake runs on the 501c3.
Oh, they do, huh?
So I mean, but there's more opportunity if they're their own entity. So they get state money, they get COVID money, they get all this money, all this funding. So I know that, these are things that we have to look at, is that what's, taking a lot of our 331 monies out of our general fund is where do we help these entities that would be on their own little. So that's something maybe we can bring Dana in, and maybe not this meeting, but next meeting, to ask her about options for Boys and Girls Club, because I know this year we're gonna have to probably support them if we do open them up. But that's something we need to look at our finance too and see where we're at, if we're gonna open them at certain limited hours or what we're gonna do. So I know a lot of parents need help with after school help, and I know a lot of parents rely on that service for subsidizing their jobs and their pay, because it's so, but we have to look at it. All right, motion to
And I think it's very important that we do try to get these boys and girls club back up and running, Chair, because some of these kids now are getting into trouble here, because they got nothing to do after so long, and I believe they were that Smash and Breaking and Bagley, I believe, were young kids.
Yeah.
Might have been native, from what I understand.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Ray. All right, motion, we have a motion and a second, and I already did this, didn't we? Okay. All right, so calendar, we did, okay. Next up is Lisa, Scott, and Clinton for capital projects. Are they on the phone, or are they coming in?
They're okay.
Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Mike.
Clinton, Scott.
Hello, everyone. I still regard social distance.
Yes, I'll find one of the other seat.
Okay.
Anywhere in between every other seat. There you go. That's fine.
Hot in here under this mask. Okay, so did you want me to start?
Yeah, you're up.
Okay, so I just want to talk about some of the construction projects that we kind of have in going. They're kind of going, but they're kind of stalled at the same time. I need to try to push these forward to see what we can do, but you all have a copy of this in your packet. And I'll just kind of go through these one by one. You guys can make some comments or whatever, you give me some direction. So the first one on here is the Minoman Boys and Girls Club. In June of 2019, we received $700,000 from HUD. This grant is actually, it was going to be a really quick grant because we were just going to do the renovation of the existing old Fenix station. But there's been a lot of holdups, like as far as match and different things like that. This grant actually ends on September of this year. So I'm going to be pursuing an extension through HUD. And like I thought, if we could get some information, once we can move forward, it'd be great. I can give some positive information when I request this extension. We're currently, when we got our estimate done by the architect, we're like $1 million short on this project. A grant request, I did send a grant request into Shakopee on July 29th in the amount of $600,000. They are currently unsure when they'll be giving donations again, because they're kind of in the same boat we are. A grant request is being sent to Otter Bremer on September 22nd in the amount of $300,000. We won't know until February 24th if that one is funded. If we're lucky and we get both grants funded, we will still need $100,000 to finish this project. But then again, if we do not get either funding, we're looking at $1 million. My question is, when I was talking to Pam Keyser about different grants that might be out there that we could try to go for, she mentioned that they're looking at maybe possibly moving the COVID, asking for 25% of COVID funds to be used as lost revenue. I did talk to Scott after that, and he said that money would go to the casino and maybe they could give it back to the tribe. So, I mean, is that a source or not? You know, I'm not sure. But maybe that's a solution to some of these problems that we're having. I know that it brought up again about, someone brought up saying, hey, we're going to tear that building down. I know I met with the RBC last fall, and they said to go forward with that location. We did have an environmental assessment completed. I sent it to HUD right about COVID time when everybody was getting shut down. And there are some contaminated soils, which we knew prior to the closing of this when we bought the property. So I have a couple drawings. I didn't know if you wanted to see any of this stuff, but I do have a couple of drawings, a couple of potential things to renovate that building if anybody's interested in looking at that.
No, is that the Senex building?
Yeah.
No, Lisa, I guess the stuff that I have for that is, I know there are some safety stuff with it. I know with the gas tanks that were there previously.
They were removed.
And I know that they were talking about there's still some ongoing, could be like spillage or whatever. Do we have to do
There is contaminated soil. If we don't
Yes.
disturb it, then we don't have to deal with it. In one of the plans, we were thinking about adding an addition right here, and that's actually some contaminated soils there. So the thought is maybe we could move the main entrance, because right now we'd have to jackhammer into the floor to put the bathrooms in. So maybe it'd be better if we took this addition and either put it on this end or maybe this end and did something different instead of going down into these soils here.
But
If we don't touch it, it's fine. We don't have to mitigate the soils, but if we choose to, we could. If we want to go into this, I'm not sure the whole cost, which would, we'd have to take out the contaminated soils and then we'd have to replace them with buildable fills,
yes.
So we could do that if we chose to.
Well, I think the big thing with us, with Boys and Girls Club, of course, right now is we had a discussion about this morning is like, where are we going to move B&G and how's it going to be under, are we going to put them back out as a 501c3 where they can get more monies?
I think that would be a good thing to pursue, because then there's probably more funding that would be open to them if they became a 501c3.
Yes. And the other part is, we're talking about Senex and we're talking about, because we're on live TV, is, we're talking about contaminated soils now. And I think that probably a big issue with our membership that's watching is like, do we want to put our kids in a contaminated area?
Well, they said that it won't affect anybody. If you don't disturb it, there's cement over the top of that right now. There's cement in the building over that. So if you're not disturbing it, it's not causing an issue. They said that it won't be harmful to anybody if you don't disturb. If you just choose to disturb it to put an addition there, then we'd have to take out the soils and replace them.
Well, I think coming from us as council and, watch over our children, and not to say nothing, all your work is great, is like we'd probably have to be in favor of removing that soil, because we don't want our kids around any type of contaminated anything.
Right.
So I think that'd probably be, I think that if council agrees, I think that's something I think that we have to look at the safety and, the welfare of our kids, that we'll have to, when it comes time to building, we'll have to look at estimates of how we can.
We could definitely, I could get estimates to remove the soil.
Yes.
And actually,
Awesome.
I would like that better, because I would prefer that the addition be here, because that's where our parking is.
Yeah.
It makes the most sense that we put this here as their entrance, and I'd be glad to get the soils out of there, Yes, sure. This is the one with the addition.
Plus it would give more room. in there
It would
too.
give more room in there because right now, like if we do have to jackhammer the floor and put the bathrooms in there, then it shortens up our kitchen, it shortens up the play space that they have. The area with the tall ceilings, that would all be smaller. And also the pantry area for the kitchen would be smaller. Everything would be reduced to get those bathrooms into that building. So I would love to remove the soils and put that there, actually.
Be good, Lisa.
Okay, let me see, if, we can go on to the next one, unless you have some questions or, I mean, I kind of need direction of later on, I guess, of how should I proceed? But I'll go through all these and then maybe we can backtrack and talk about them. Okay, so the next one's wider childcare. How did, you know, we got this funded last, I think it was February or something like that. We got notice that we got funded from HUD. HUD is actually working on the contract documents right now. This grant is for $900,000. And if, last January I met with you guys, January 29th, and you signed a resolution to commit $1,740,000 towards this project. But I know times have changed. I know we have COVID. I know that we have less revenue coming in from the casino. We're in a hard crunch. This grant timeline is 2 years, okay? If we could use those COVID funds, that would be great. Then maybe we can go on with this. If not,
You can't use COVID funds to build.
I mean, but I mean, if they go back as a, that's what I'm referring to. If they go back to the casino and build back to here as lost revenue money. So sorry, that's how I was kind of told they were originally COVID funds. But anyway, if they could be used, that would be great. Otherwise, I would probably need to do a revised implementation. I did talk to HUD the other day, and I said, can I stretch it to 3 years? So maybe we can earn some money back by then. They said they will talk about it. It's not guaranteed, but even if we did 3 years, I would have to start working with architect now. I could have the plans ready by like this spring to bid it, and maybe we can start in May, but if I could ask for that extra extension, I could hold those plans for 1 year. You know, it'd give you 1 year relief, but then it would have to start the following May if we're to get done in time to not lose this grant. Let me see. That's kind of about that one.
And that was gonna be built on the corner over here, wasn't it?
Yeah, straight down instead of turning to the RTC. They have a lease right now to build straight across, okay? And then part of my plan back in January when I talked to you, I was gonna go to Shakopee for some donations for this as well and try to find some other sources. But now I don't know where Shakopee, they're so good about donating to us, but now they're having issues. So I mean, a big part of what I was hoping to secure for this project is on hold right now. Then I guess going on to the next one, we have Rice Lake Community Center mechanical canopy. The mechanical canopy is needed to protect the air conditioning units that are on the east side of that Rice Lake Community Center. The way that the roof is built, the snow and ice has been falling on those in the winter, and there's a big concern about causing a lot of damage to those units. The total project will be $23,124.03. This project was bid out last fall, and the low bidders have agreed to keep their costs the same as originally bid. The cost will include the removal of 2 units and the reinstallation of them after the construction of the canopy is done. There is cost to H.A. Thompson of $2,603 out of that total I told you earlier. That's for removing the units and then putting it back after the canopy is constructed. Hammer's construction contract that they submitted to us is $18,848 of that total. And then approximately $1,600 is for the White Earth Builders fee for managing the project. So there was a resolution to proceed with this project on December 4th of 2019. When Hammer's contract was submitted for signature in August, the project was questioned and the contract was not signed. So is this project going to move forward, or should I put it on, is it going to be put on hold? Or if you choose to fund this project, what fund do you want me to use? I did ask Bernie Soring, and he said I'd have to ask that question of you guys. So that's another one that's kind of on hold.
Where did that come from? General?
Gotta come out of the general fund.
And I think we probably need this because I think that those units are getting kind of beat on for the last, year or two since we
Well,
put that roof on there.
I think maintenance has done a good job by putting plywood over to avoid damage. But if they don't do that every year, you'll damage $50,000 to $150,000 of units.
So this one would probably be good that we approve this one today, I think. I put a check mark by it, do you think?
I thought
Yeah.
we did that.
Well, you did with the resolution, but then the contract, when it came to get signed, got rejected. So I brought,
Contractor,
Hammer's Construction.
who's that?
Let me give you their address here.
Ray, are you on?
I don't remember one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're from
think-
Warren, Minnesota.
I think we need to get this one
They're
done
the ones who
today.
built did the metal, the new.
Yeah, it should have been done last year, because them things are getting wrecked, and I mean, they're $100,000 air conditioners, I mean,
Yeah.
yes, you'd rather spend
We had all of our
$50,000,
bids before we presented to you in
I
December.
remember why we tabled it.
I know you really approved it, but when this contract came in to be signed by Bernie, then it was rejected, I don't know, like. So, I mean, I filled out a new one here too.
Just right here, please.
That's it, that's the,
I don't think we need to do a motion or we just sign off on it, don't we?
Sign off on it.
Because the resolution has already been passed.
So, you know, we
Way
could
back in
probably just
December.
pass a motion, like, because we did pass a motion to suspend capital projects.
Okay, we'll just hold on.
We might want to just add that to the.
yeah, I'll just leave
motion.
it, I'll just leave it with you guys.
All right, so there's one check
So,
mark.
okay, general fund, we'll write a note on my paper here. Okay. Okay, Rice Lake Community Center parking lots. The parking lot has a drainage problem. If the problem isn't gonna get fixed, there's gonna be flooding in the new addition. The first year that the building was done, I was out there and seeing all the water problems coming back up against the building. I hate to see that flooding, I mean, if you get a worse winter or whatever, to see all that water come into the building and do some damage that we'd have to repair then. I know we had gotten approval to get a design done. We contacted Altec Engineers. They were hired to design the parking lot. They gave us a cost estimate of $137,97.40. We haven't bid it out. I don't know, would you guys want to go forward with this? If you do, what fund do you want me to use to pay for this?
Well, if
And
it's-
this is just a cost estimate at this time. We have the drawing and the specification for it, but it has not been bid out.
So do you think this problem is gonna relate to like permanent damage to the structure of the
Oh,
building?
I definitely think if it doesn't get fixed, the drainage problem. I mean, Raymond, you know what you've seen the water up against that building, right?
Not, the water's been at least, up at least 2-3 inches sometimes when it rains, because it's right in the basin, like.
Yeah.
So if this don't get taken care of, it's gonna damage the foundation, and it's gonna get up in the walls, and
Scott, what's the?
when they built that thing, they didn't know what the hell they were doing, I'll tell you that much.
It's gotta come out of general fund.
I think-
But if we don't put a stop to them, and there again, we're gonna end up paying thousands
Yeah,
of dollars
yeah.
to get that repaired.
Yeah, you're right. I think we'll have to do something, take action on that today too, but can you
Okay,
get a bid
you
out?
can get,
I think if we get a bid out now,
Right.
at the end of the season, I think. we could
I would
probably
like to get it done yet this fall if we can, because, I mean, it's gonna take us 3 weeks to bid it. We always give them 3 weeks to prepare their bids to send back. But if, I mean, it's all ready to go, we could probably get it out tomorrow, get the bid out, and then 3 weeks from now, we get our bids back in. So go ahead and bid the project.
What do you guys think?
I think it's good that they get it fixed right away.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay, well, and then I'll come back to you with the bids.
yes, that'd be good. You guys good with that?
The only comment I have is, yeah, this stuff has to happen, and, just mindful for the council that as we look at past next year's budget, we're already looking at 5 million. And so like every addition that we add on top of that is another, it adds to that deficit, so.
Yep.
That's the only comment I'll make. Mr.
I think if we're gonna sit there and let this building get
Yep.
weakened and whatnot, we
Yeah.
probably have to take action.
We,
So,
yeah,
go ahead, please.
Okay, the next one, Mike, you mentioned tiny homes to me, and like, I've only heard it mentioned a couple times by Ben. I don't know the whole scope of everything, but I did try to check around. Nobody is aware that there is any grant funding for this at this time.
Yep.
So, but I would say, like, when we're done with this Minnesota housing project, or maybe partway into this Minnesota housing project and it's going well, would, you know, if you could give us some time, we could work with them. We're getting $5 million worth of funding that the tribe doesn't have to pay other than $150,000. So, I mean, I would like the opportunity to, you know, if you want tiny homes, can we try to find other sources? Because I know you guys can't afford to do that stuff right now, but maybe we can get it, you know, get a good deal, work with the state housing, Minnesota housing.
Yeah, because right now, there's like the state's doing everything they can for homelessness. I know we're going to talk today about the urban area about homelessness, and it's kind of a pressing issue on us now with Bagley being plumb full, and you know, we're just, you know, we're kind of running.
And maybe you'll find other funds in the meantime. I mean, I would say if you can find other funding, great. You know, I'll help you guys with whatever. And if you want me to try to seek some additional funding through Minnesota Housing, I sure will go down that path.
Earlier on, when we were talking to Ben about this, we were talking about 6 million total, and he was saying that he felt that he could probably get 5.5 million, you know, from some of his sources, where it was, I'm not sure which one.
Right.
But he thought it was very viable for grants.
But you know, this is, you know, it took us 5 years to get to the point where we're doing housing first. We've been working on it for a long time. So it's something that's just not like overnight, you know, if you guys want me to go down this path, it's not, you have to have some patience with it, because it does take some time to get it all laid out and get it approved. Okay, now we're on to housing first, which I don't know how to say the native name, so I call it housing first.
Okay.
Okay, because I have to learn how to say that yet. So, so we're working with the state of Minnesota, or Minnesota Housing, I should say, with Housing First facility. Is to house single males and single females. Okay. I believe there's 24 units that will be in there, and I do have a drawing. If anybody would like to look at it, I'll take this out here.
Where's the proposed site for that?
Well, that's one of the things that we need to talk about, because we had some issues with the soil conditions. We had a geotechnical report done, and when they took their soil samples, it's mainly peat. So to remove all of the dirt from there and to replace it with good soils is probably going to be $400,000. So we need to find a new location. Okay, so that's what we've kind of been doing. That's what I'll talk about a little bit in here. But anyway, here is the outside view of the facility.
Oh, nice.
And then here is the inside of the individual offices, and this is the offices and handicaps, efficiency apartments on the lower level. This is the top level. And you can take this. Kathy, you want to look at that?
I do.
Okay. And then they have some elevations and different things on these ones. You're welcome to take this.
Not your family?
It's not a family, no, it's single males and females, and it's like, take them as they are. If they have an addiction or whatever, you take them as they are, because they said the first thing that stops people from recovering is trying to find shelter or whatever. So you give them permanent shelter, I mean, you know, for as ever long as it takes for them to get healthy. And then you start working with them to help them with their addiction. That's the whole thing of what this is. You're just taking them as they are. They don't have to be already gone through treatment or anything.
So where are the proposed sites? Because you figured they want to be tied into existing water and sewer.
And that's what so on what's that, Monday? On Monday, we met to go over this with the architect and a few people. We went, we got a list. I see on the agenda you're going to meet with Mitch today. We got some properties that might be potential sites from Mitch Burke, the city administrator from Minoman. And we went and drove to each one and looked. Okay. And last we were kind of talking is about the industrial park, possibly maybe across from the chip factory. There's some lots there, all the way around towards where we put the Head Start, and possibly on the other side. They were thinking maybe like $3,000 an acre. I think that would be a great deal. I mean, we were looking at a spot for like 4 acres. You know, this is stuff we'd have to work out with the city. I'm not sure, you know, it's something to talk about. That was probably the best spot I thought was in the industrial park. It's close to the water and sewer system, mains right along College Road there. So to me, that was a good spot. There's a couple other good spots, but some are privately owned. So then we'd have to work with them to negotiate a price and all that kind of thing. And I guess why I'm kind of asking, I mean, I need to move forward. This is a $5 million project. We have to move forward. Can I work? I don't know. I need to work with Catherine with the land office and trying to secure a new spot. Maybe you guys can have some conversation with Mitch when he comes on the phone. So anyway, so we had an issue the other day. We needed a 501c3 for this project. We don't have one at this point. So we asked Rediscovery Board if they will let us use their 501c just as a placeholder. We need to have our own 501c3 formed for this new Housing First project. So part of the thing is the Rediscovery gave back an answer yesterday and said, yes, you can use it as a placeholder. But now I need to get this 501c3 formed. And Rediscovery has also requested that we no longer use them for any of those other 501c3s that are underneath their entity. So I also need to get working on moving those out of there. So I guess from what I understood, there's a firm that works with Native tribes. Their name is Jacobson Law Firm. I talked to Brown Consultants, who was a consultant on this project. They said they would help guide us if we want to, you know, they could help work with Jacobson Law Firm to get this accomplished. I don't know what it's going to cost. I put in here, it might be $20,000. I don't know if that's right or wrong.
That's high.
I'm just giving you a number just because I don't know. I don't know what it's going to cost. So I didn't want to be too low. I didn't want to say 5,000 if it's really going to be 15,000.
Yeah.
So I'm just giving you an estimate. I don't know until I speak with them.
Yeah.
I would have to get like a scope of work of what we want from them to them and then get the response back.
So I have some questions on this here. Yeah, if that's okay.
No.
So in the resolution, it specifically names an individual rather than a position. And then also in the contract, it also names a specific person.
Which are you looking at? I'm sorry.
Is this the same one that our Human Services Director submitted in the contract that was sent through yesterday? Or is this a different, completely
I'm
different?
not sure which one we're talking about. Sorry.
Is this Housing First one, Lori?
I think it's the Housing First. I guess I'll have to get back to you on it because I had a question
Okay.
about, you know, a specific individual named for this money and the resolution that was passed previously.
Okay.
Yeah, you can probably get a hold of Rob.
Yeah,
or someone.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, let me know. Maybe I don't have that resolution in my hand.
Is this the
You know-
one that's with DW Jones, partnering with DW Jones? Or no?
That's something I don't know about.
Okay, sorry,
That's-
I'm incorrect.
DW Jones is like the maintenance, the people that, I think they have a contract with to like manage the apartments or different things that they have.
Mhm.
I don't know much about that at all, so.
Okay. My apologies. You're
No.
just the building and construction.
Yeah,
I think the other portion of it is what I'm looking at on how to
Okay.
implement the services piece.
yeah, and I haven't, you know, I'm just kind of thrown in here.
Okay, make wish, Lisa, make wish.
So, yeah, I don't know much about that one. Okay, so, I mean, I was just guessing when I said 20,000, but I think we need to move forward because they want the new 501c3 before they close their bond financing in March and April. When they close all the financing, we have to have our own 501c3. So my question is, do you want me to pursue that, or does legal pursue it, or do you want me to, I mean, I will work on it if you want me to. And then where do I spend the money
We should get some
from?
information from that law firm and ask
Okay.
them what it takes and what the fee.
So you want me to do a scope of work and start working with them then? Okay.
And then you should come back and share that with, you know, Ronnie and see if they can do it. Council can decide which route to go.
Okay. All right. So I guess the question was, can I work with the land office to try and find a new property? We probably have 2 months max to get this closed out in time. And Minnesota Housing has to also approve our location
Yes.
before they're gonna go forward with the project. So
Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, I
You
will.
did a great job on this.
I will do that. I will talk. Okay. All right. And now we're gonna go on to Jack. I know Clinton is here too. You can butt in anytime that you want to on this. Okay, so with the Jackpot property, we had $1 million we received for the Department of Justice, and the grant ends this month, okay? But luckily, Tully did give us a 1-year extension, did get a 1-year extension. So I'll go for it, and then I'll go back to it. On September 9th of 2019, the RBC approved a resolution to match this grant by $1,506,000 in behavioral health revenue funds. It was estimated by Jeremy Severson that the funds would be recouped within 3 years due to the number of participants that would be served with this current facility that would be built. The Wonders RBC put the remodeling portion of the project on hold in their July meeting. The DOJ grant was originally a grant for a renovation of the existing acute care. DOJ is allowing us to use this grant for new construction as long as we had a renovation component to it. The renovation of the existing structure at Joppa would meet this qualification. I met with Department of Justice last June, and we went out to the site and I said, okay, we're stretching it. It was to be a renovation project, but if you renovate the existing building, and they wanted us to have that done before we even asked for an extension, because they wanted to show that we were making some progress. Because really, we've been not really making any progress. But anyway, so during this meeting that we brought this contract to, it was on hold. And then the RBC also requested that we ask for a 2-year extension. We did ask for a 2-year extension, but they would only give us 1. They said if we show improvement by next year and we get into our construction, they most likely will give us 1 more year to finish the project. But for us to finish the project, we would have to start in the spring of next year to get it done in time. And that's with another extension, because we will start in May. We will not be done by September 30th of 21. So we will need another extension from them. But if we can show progress, I don't think that they will have a problem in granting us 1. And we did use COVID as a reason that they would allow. That was one reason they'd allow us an extension at that time. But she goes, COVID would be over by then. You have to have a better excuse for that next year. So they were pretty much like, you have to get this project done. So, you know, when it comes to this, it's like, what do we do with this? How do we go forward? What options do we have? Or should we just give the money back? I hate to give the money back. The main reason is I want to show that we can do this and that we can do a great job with it, because when they were here last June, they said, you know what, we would consider another grant from you guys of $1 million for, because I was telling them about how we don't have like, what am I thinking of? the treatment center. We don't have a treatment center on the reservation. We had to haul them way down past the city sometimes. So I was explaining some of the hardships of the reservation. And she goes, we would love to fund something like that. But how can I even give them to them if we fail on the first one? And I'm just being very honest. I don't think that they would look very favorable if we gave them money back, but
Can I?
yes, that's kind of my end.
I think one of the things for context in it, like in terms of, you know, we can look at where that revenue will be recouped. I think we know that right now we're sitting on a 8-bed facility, 9-bed facility that has a waiting list that's almost that long or more at any given time. And it's always an urgent need. I think, you know, COVID has shown the vulnerability we have because we don't have places to send people who are in urgent need. And acute care really fits that model, right? That individuals who are either transitioning out or just kind of stabilizing early to recovery. I think pointing out that it also, when we think of our homeless project and the homeless need, there is a population that's served there, because that is a population that we would have to rely on the hotel in Bagley for. We were looking for some kind of transitional support until we got to where they needed to go. The model, or the architect has rendered an amazing, design for out there. The existing property, the site would just be an amazing place for people who are looking for recovery. Aside from that, the 16 beds would be what we would be able to do in this first, with this kind of funding. 16 beds, almost doubling what we have for capacity. Looking at encounter rate, at the per diem, and how that all works, it's going to generate almost $3 million a year at capacity. So there's a lot of usefulness. I would even say beyond usefulness, like kind of I think a mandate that we have the center up and running. I think there's a lot of use needs, and I think with COVID we're seeing a lot of that. And it's addiction is a deadly disease, and our communities have felt that long enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think kind of to go on a soapbox little piece with this, and in other conversations, I think this would be an important priority for behavioral health dollars to invest in something like this, because it is an urgent need. And that's, obviously that's just a soapbox. You guys are the elected officials who make those decisions, and that's, what I can provide in that way.
Well, that's one of the things that I addressed earlier, when we had our fourth death of one of our young people across reservation of overdosing, and I reached out to Chief Police Mike LaRock, and I called him directly, and I said, Mike, we're not doing enough. We're not doing enough for our people. As council, we need to be more, we need to get better services. We need to get stuff done. I mean, we have to get these services for our people, because we're losing them faster than COVID's taking them. So we have to get our programs back up and going. It's important. When we talked about this last year, we talked about the ROI. It was going to be within 2 years, we'll have that money back in the account again. So we know that, our billing, the way our system is built on, and with our third-party reimbursements, and, especially with telehealth now, is like we can do all this. We can put that money back in those accounts. I think that these are the buildings, these are the structures that we need to be successful at keeping our people on the straight path. And I think if we don't invest our money and our time into these programs and these structures, that we're not helping our community or our people out with, what we're doing today. It's not enough. So I think what we have to get, and we talk about council at this table, we talk about a detox. If we have to take someone to a detox, we have to take them, off res, and it's like something that we need more for our people. And it's something I've been advocating for a long time, so I appreciate that. So, and like I said, I'm in favor. We passed this last year, and that's like, I was kind of, then we put it back into the capital projects like we're at today. And I think it's important that we move forward on these. I think it's important that, it creates more jobs, it creates more infrastructure for our people in recovery. I think it's important that, introducing the culture component to a lot of these programs, I think is going to be one of the most valuable tools and resources that we have. So it's important that we build these and we create these. I think it's important, like you said, our acute care is over full. Every place else where we try to take our people, their doors are closed, they're full, their capacity. So we have to look at, trying to get back to our membership, and when it comes to our treatment facilities. So that's what I can say. If you guys want to say something, you can say too. So be good.
Okay, should I go on to the next one?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one's a Christian retreat. It was to be the home of the new family treatment center. The project's been on hold. We received $900,000 from the state legislature. There's approximately $764,000 remaining. The money that we spent so far was to fix the roof and to fix the doors into the program, and we converted the heating from electric to gas. So those are the things that we did so far with the building. A lot more needs to be done. We have to address the septic system and the water system, and maybe tearing down some of the buildings that are beyond repair.
Yeah.
And then this project actually ends in December 31st of 22. So we have 2 years to get this done. So this is a tight time frame again. The reason that we got the funding is that we promised we'd build a family treatment center. I don't know the cost yet. We haven't gotten that far. I'm just estimating, 3 million maybe. I don't really know at this point. I don't have an estimate from anybody on this. So, and this was also to be paid with behavioral health revenue. So, do we go forward or do we get the money back? What do we do? I just need some path.
Lisa, I think one of the things with having these drawings, I know that initial kind of planning, that these are the kind of units for families that they're looking like a 2-bedroom where families could go in together, receive services. So there would be a lot of opportunity for that. And I know that that's, one of the components of the state bond that we got, that 900,000 would be to develop some kind of system like that. And I know that we've worked with the architect and the structure out there.
Yeah,
So I think there's a lot of.
And we did do some schematic designs on the building so far. We're kind of looking at couple fourplexes.
Yeah.
They're more like a small apartment, or more maybe as a bigger motel room. I mean, it's like 2 rooms, kitchenette. They would get their meals in the main building where we have a big commercial kitchen.
Yeah.
So they get their meals there. We've talked a lot about different issues, kids being cramped up in a little tiny room like this. They need some play space, different things like that. We talked about they'll need some childcare in the existing building for the moms and dads while they're going through their treatment services, different things like that. I just asking for guidance. We need to move forward or we need to get the money back.
I would just like to add, if you work with the QRTP guidelines through the Families First Preservation Act, you will be able to regenerate the funding right back in as a source.
Oh yeah, there's from the child services side, there's a lot of reimplication, like services from that side, the mental health, behavioral health encounters that should come out of it, health services. I think, a lot of justification and ways to generate services there. I think we're looking at 16 units, right? So 16 families. And I do think it's not separate from the homeless problem that we have. A lot of people are stuck in that cycle of addiction because they don't have a place to live. And I think when we look at that big picture, early on conversations around that what percentage of the homeless population are people who are stuck in that cycle because they don't have a place to live. So in a long-term way, looking at housing first, family treatment and acute care.
And I think, now that you're back with behavioral health, I would like to get a thing set up where we can talk about site planning for the whole site out there. What is the future? What do you see for different things? So we can say we don't want to interfere with this location because this is a future home for this. We need our infrastructure to be able to handle all those things. So, but if we don't know what's going to happen what we plan in the future, it's hard to design our systems to take care of it. And I think at first we were talking about maybe 8 families to begin with, but you could duplicate whatever you're doing as you have more funding, or maybe you have funding now to do 16 families. I don't know. But it's some things that we really need to talk about and to move forward, because otherwise we're going to lose this money in 2 years. That's why I'm here.
And I do think, to that point that, I recognize that revenue has decreased. COVID has decreased that. That we need to have a plan in place within behavioral health, and I think over, most people have been in the role before, and I see that, we were always trying to move that direction to figure out how to continue forward and increase revenue and that operating margin to continue to move these things forward, because I don't think we can just leap all the way into one or the other or all at the same time. We have to do it in a responsible way, and I think we could do that. The way that you were talking in terms of creating like a health campus. I think when we originally put one of these proposals together, that amount included tearing down, some of the structures out there that are just don't need to be out there.
Well, I got a question. So when what are your comments on? So when I looked at that list over there, they're not included on your report. What are your comments on homeless shelter, assisted living, urban homeless, and Oshkosh Center?
I guess Scott was going to bring up the rest of the capital projects list.
Okay.
All I'm bringing up is things that we're already obligated to do.
Okay.
And if you're gonna spend, this is why I'm coming here, like, if you do happen to be able to get some funding in, I would like you to consider, let's get done the ones that we've committed to that we could potentially lose our funding source from, before you obligate funds to other ones that we have not started.
Okay,
Because I don't want to lose face with these funding sources either.
okay.
I would like just to say, please do these ones first, and then go on to your list.
So I want to make sure that the record accurately reflects her comments, or she's saying that she's recommending we pursue these specific projects because there's funding sources already allocated for them.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, when I add up those comments, it comes out to approximately $18.3 million.
Of all the capital projects, right, that you're
Of
talking?
the ones that are on this
Oh,
list.
no, I have, no, the amount that we need, if we didn't get any money back from any of the sources from Monoman, Boys and Girls, like Shakopee and those, that would be $1 million. Childcare would be, so you guys agreed to 1.7 million.
Yeah.
They have 300,000, so that would be 1,440,000.
Yeah,
Rice Lake Canopy would be 23,000. Rice Lake Parking Lot, 137.
yeah,
Monoman Housing, 150,000 is a match.
yeah.
If we have to buy another piece of land, that's 12,000, which, I mean, that's low. I'm hoping it's 12,000.
Yeah.
I asked for 20,000 maybe to do the 501c3s. And then so those ones right there are 2,782,000.
Yeah. And what about the rest?
And then the other ones would be from behavioral health
Okay,
budget. That would be 4,506,000 from behavioral health funding.
so what is it all together?
5,218,000.
And how much from general?
The general will be 2,782,000.
Okay, 2,782,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you said what, 5 million? Is that what you said?
5 would be remaining out of the, if you got 8 million in lost revenue funds that we're able to bring over, if you had 8 million and you allocated 2,782,000 towards these projects we have in place, you would have 5,218,000 left to contribute maybe to the rest of that if you wanted to go on to other projects.
Well, the other question I have, because it's next on the agenda, is that Natiwash Clinic, and that's 16 million.
Mm-hmm.
So what if, when you add those two together, what do you get?
Yeah, and if,
22.
yeah,
22 million, okay.
Right.
So the question I have then, and how much in behavioral health do we have?
We probably have about 42 million total with 17 million reserved.
So that'd be 20 million remaining. So that would leave us a $3 million kind of cushion.
Yeah.
If we greenlight all the projects, just the projects you listed, not the homeless shelters or assisted living
Right.
or any of that.
right,
And the other problem we have is that hopefully these revenue streams kick in eventually, but right now we're only at what, 1.2 million annual?
Well, we're probably at all of behavioral health. We might hit 2 million this year.
So 2 million annual on average is until things start to pick up, hopefully. You don't plan on hopes.
Is that operating margin, Scott?
Yeah.
2 million? Because I haven't seen trial balances.
Yeah.
So he's saying 2 million each year, so, you know, like, the reason I'm saying these things is like, and I'm glad that you made the comment at the beginning that these are already projects that have funding tied to them. And so you're recommending the tribal council approves this packet, and then it'll probably be recommended that the Natiwash, so basically that commits the tribe with us having only 20 million remaining, and then hopefully we can fight off the state over that 17 million.
We're about 15
So-
minutes off from schedule.
That'll leave us $3 million. In the worst case scenario, we'll have $3 million remaining. But that means we won't be able to pursue the homeless shelter, assisted living, or urban, or detox, or OMC.
If behavioral health only had $3 million in cash, they're not taking it because they're gonna have highs and lows. And if you take them too low, if you take them down to 3 million or lower, if they run into some tough times, I mean, I heard Colin Peterson saying that probably the federal government may shut down, things of that nature. If you take them below 3 million, that's a danger situation.
Okay.
And to give you an
Potentially.
update, I did write a grant to head to the CARES Act, but it did not get funded for the homeless shelter. I did try, but I just got notification this week that it did not go through.
Well, Mr. Chair, what I'm recommending then as treasurer is that we have a consolidated, if permitted, a consolidated resolution that outlines all these projects that says we're green lighting all these ones. Here's the attached resolution and supplemental budgets for it, and we just green light them.
Well, I know Lisa talked about extension on the first one, extension on the child care. I know we're gonna have to pass the Rice Lake, the 2 Rice Lake projects. Tiny homes could probably hold off.
Yeah.
Housing First, could probably be green lighted. Jack Hall should be green lighted. Christian Retreat could probably, I know with Christian Retreat now, we need probably a more extensive plan for that one.
Well, I mean, this would let me go ahead. I mean, I would like to go further saying we're going to get this done. Because otherwise, I mean, we only have a little over 2 years. That's not a long time when you have to do construction. I mean, if we start in May of this coming year, I need to get the design done over the winter.
Yes.
And we're not even going to have a complete 2 years to finish from that point on.
Yep.
So it kind of, if we're going to get it done in time, we'd have to get it to be bid this spring.
Okay.
I have a question. Over 2 years ago, it was stated we had 42 million in reserves. Now, how did we get from 42 million to what do we have now?
Well,
And that was in writing everywhere. So where did our other 20 million go?
people say things and they're not communicated well. 42 million was always the behavioral health cash balance. They've been at 40 million for a couple of years.
Well, this was our reserves. It wasn't behavioral health that I understood when I was seeing.
Well, I think
all
the reserves you're talking about, Annie, are the ones that we have over in our gaming.
No, it wasn't our reserves.
No, but that's where we hold our reserves, because we can't hold them under our RBC.
Where's all that then?
Or 501c3, we can't have them.
In the last 2 years, Alan has been putting out a quarterly report. And I've been preparing that report. And we prepare it in general fund, behavioral health, and other governmental funds. And behavioral health is a portion of other governmentals. In the behavioral health, over the years, we've said what the revenue, what the expenses are, and they bring the cash balance in that general fund has ranged probably from a low of 1 million. I don't think it's ever been as high as 5 million. And behavioral health fund cash balance has been in the 40 million range. And other governmentals have been 40 plus the grant money, even more. So like right now, we probably have 110 million in cash. We probably have 1 million in the general fund, 40 million in behavioral health, 40-some million, and mainly the 60 million is in grants. So unfortunately, that was a miscommunication or misunderstanding of something. We've never had $40 million ever that I've been here in general fund, nowhere close.
Yeah, those are listed as, those are considered special revenue funds. So we can't just use them, they have to be used for a qualified purpose.
Right, I know that, but that was your word saying that's what we have. And now you're saying we only have 20,000 and it's like, or 20 million, and it's like, well.
No, we still
I'd
have,
like
we
to
still
see
have
the-
42.
I need to see the whole budget then from 2 years back, so I can look at it and see what's what, because I don't know, it's like getting crazy here.
Behavioral health has about 40 million, but 17 has been put on reserve for the potential payback to the state of Minnesota.
And what I'd like to see is Lisa's stuff to get approved, because we do need a family treatment center.
Yeah.
That is a must. I just got a call that, they were looking for one. I just don't see how we lose. especially when, you know, we can build. Yes, it might take a little bit to get it back, but shoot, in 3 years, we'd be back up there.
And then after that's paid back, it would be additional
Yeah.
revenue,
Yeah.
you know, that you wouldn't have to pay it back, you know what I mean? It's additional revenue to your program.
So Lisa, today, I know that you presented this to us as council, you know, and like I said, I was going over some of these projects and some are gonna have extensions because, you know, we haven't had any type of, verbiage from Congress about our 25% that we could possibly put back into our general fund. But I mean, like some projects, I think we're gonna have to move forward with, and I think that's what Ellen brought up, is what project will have to be moved forward next week. So next week we'll have to have a resolution. I know Annie's really talked about the Christian retreat, and I know we're gonna have to work with Clinton over here to get that architect or whatever. We're gonna have to start going with that, and down the road is where we're gonna put these 4 plexes. You know, we, like I said, I mean, these are some of the plans that we're gonna have to look at. Like you said, you know, we can't take action on some of these because our future is uncertain right now with this 25% of money. So, I mean, we can't commit it right now because COVID, you know, doesn't allow us to move forward with those projects. So, our COVID funds. So, but I mean, I appreciate the information, and I know that the urgency on some of these will get passed. Like I know the Rice Lake Community Center needs that assistance. We will pass that. I know the housing first, you know, the $5 million grant we got from, you know, from the state is that we have to move forward on that for sure. We have to find a place to house it. And then Jack Hall should move forward too with Q Care and Jack Hall place. So I know that we need to get that done. And then Christian Retreat, I know you'll work along with Clinton and his staff on how can we get something that's gonna, like we talked about, there's we don't know how much money it's gonna cost us. You know, we gotta get some type of rough numbers out there, what it's gonna cost to deconstruct those cabins, to take them down, and then where are we gonna put the 4 plexes at. So, I mean, the lucky thing is that we do have a day labor out there that can go in there and deconstruct some of that stuff and take some of that down for us, so we can move forward with that and create this family treatment place here in the near future, I hope so.
I did have one more additional thing at the bottom.
Yes.
I did have some some concerns with the architect that we're using at Jack Hall Christian Retreat. And when we bid this, I'm thinking about, we do not have a contract with them yet. Every time they sent me one, there's something added or there's something not like we agreed, and it's gone back and forth. It's been 2 years. It was when Roy was here yet. Still don't have it. I want to break that relationship, and I'd like to go to the next one that we had when we advertised the project. I'd like to go with them. I feel like we're not getting anywhere. What they promised us last November that they were going to work with Department of Justice. I found out this spring they hadn't done any of that yet. Mm-hmm. And when I asked them about it, oh, we'll have time for you in October. I want to cut ties. I don't have no obligation with them, you know, legally, because we've never signed a contract. It's been a nightmare. I've never had this situation happening. So I'd like to go to the next one that was in line, architect. I'd like to meet with her. I'd drop a contract with her and get this moving forward. Because I just think we're just stalling, and I just want to move forward and get this done. And I'm very frustrated with our current one. So we kind of have to start from scratch. But she will work best.
Where are they from?
Fargo. I didn't want to say their name on here either, since it's televised, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, and the other one's from Moorhead. I think you were the one that did the housing first, the one who's done. She's very, very good at getting the details down.
The architect that you're talking about.
I'm just having struggle.
We needed a quick response for the past extension to be okay. And I should response blew me out of the water.
And what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and get a contract ready. And I've already gone through through the advertisements of this previously. So I just want to let you know that if that's the road we choose, and I haven't been able to talk to Clinton until now. So if this is a discussion we have and we don't feel like we're going to go forward, I just want to let you guys know that we're probably going to break that tie, and you'll see a contract written down here for the new architect.
You know, Mike,
So,
I think one of the things still kind of getting situated again in this and looking at where we're at is I do feel that looking at where we're at and having a better idea of that to kind of like lay out each priorities from the behavioral outside
And then
to just, you know, make sure that we're all on the same page with where the revenue it's coming from and how we could make it up, and then even looking at maybe putting something to like next to these other capital projects to say how do we envision
So it goes
generating that
up and
revenue?
down.
And I think
But generally, that's what it's
looking at this whole list, I think there are certain things that we could stage and enter towards as we develop the services. Because as I was saying is that I think that like looking at a business plan and looking at what are all these projects on here and looking at ways of, kind of taking stages and adjusting based on where, we can talk about projected revenue in behavioral health left and right. I know on housing side, there are new Medicaid services that were never available before that are reimbursable.
Yeah.
So there, there's a lot of new variables, I think, that could be added to this that could help ease some of that transition to instead of a lump sum jump into commitment. Working to something like that with, just because, I think arguably when we think about supplemental income in a way that we could, help offset some of these costs through, the revenue that's there. I think there's ethical, moral and then just responsible ways to do it in ways that I think, regardless of how from what side of the table we're looking at it, I think that people could all agree to,
Well, that's
fiscally
smart. That's why I like where you opened it up, that these were already in the hopper. And that's why you're recommending them.
And like, I just want to make sure you set aside money for these because, okay, even like right now, when I start to we'll probably get some of these bid in, like, say the Monoma Boys and Girls Club. If we bid that next May, we will use all the HUD dollars first. So we probably won't even touch the additional money we need till the next fiscal year. Yeah. We'll use their dollars first. And maybe in the meantime, maybe Shakopee comes through. Maybe we get out of Bremer. Maybe you only need to come up with 100,000 instead of $1 million. We're trying to, ease the burden of the tribe by trying to find other sources. Mm-hmm. So, that's my whole goal, is not to burden you with all these, but I just want to make sure that there's money set aside for in case, that it doesn't get spent anywhere else because we need it to finish our obligations. But I will go back and ask for an extension right now, and I will ask for a 3-year. I already sent the email saying, can we do a 3-year for childcare? So I'll go back and I'll work on that extension for the Boys and Girls Club and tell them, hey, we need another 2 years. So.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah.
And I think with, for the resolution, did we already do the resolutions for the Rice Lake Center on both?
Yeah, some of them have resolutions already. All of these, like Boys and Girls has one.
The Rice Lake Mechanical Canopy is done.
Yeah, and
that's already done, Scott?
Yes, the resolution was done in December.
Can we approve that?
Well, and like, if you look, Monoma Boys and Girls Club, you already have a resolution out there for 400,000.
I think we just pass a motion to get them going.
All right, let's get a motion to, we have already have resolutions at the table for some of these projects. I know, like you said, we need more details about
I brought the resolutions for everything that we have. We pretty much have resolutions other than the Rice Lake, we had to go forward to check into it, but not to actually go forward. They just wanted to see a price.
Oh,
so
we need a resolution for that.
Yeah. So I'm not, however you want to do that.
Okay, so.
If you want me to go forward and get the price.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Say, question for Lisa there, that $5 million grant that's coming for homeless shelter? They were looking at that lot right next to that Boys and Girls Club and building something similar to that one over in Cass Lake. But they need an LLC or something like that to do it. And then they also were wondering about a 501c so that they could get funding and grants for that.
Right,
yeah. It with.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's an option or not. Or...
that's one of the spots we look for. That's Housing First project that I talked about. We were looking at that spot, maybe potentially. I just didn't want to put it by the Boys and Girls Club if we, it didn't seem like the proper fit to me. And one thing I loved about the spot at Cenex is that huge area. It's like half a block that could be developed into a play area for the kids and whatever. And I just don't think the two mix so well. You think I'd more like protect the kids more.
Excuse me, but we got a homeless problem that we got to take care of here. I mean, and I know the Boys and Girls should come first, but in that sense, are homeless too, it's becoming winter here and we only got a month left at that hotel unless we reapply more money there for that place.
Right, well,
But we're bringing money up.
even, Raymond, even with this grant, even with this, that housing project won't even close until spring of next year. We won't bid it for spring, till spring, and then there's 2 years for construction. So you will not have like a housing first project for 2.5 more years yet.
Well, I understand
Yeah.
that, but the thing is that at least we're getting on it, because
Right.
I'm getting hammered now about this shelter being closed here at the end of this month again now.
Mhm. And what I was saying is that, I will work with the land office and with Mitch Berg and whoever, my staff, and trying to bring to you some potential sites. I know there was talk about maybe
All right, thank you.
by the industrial park, so
Yeah,
we're looking
give
at,
me switch.
yep, you're welcome.
Okay, so you want us to motion on, the ones that are already previously had resolutions for, to move forward on? Motion by Alan, second. Second by Kathy, all in favor?
Aye.
I,
All right, motion carries. Thank you, Lisa. Thank
Thank
you,
you, Lisa.
Clinton. Thank you, Scott. You guys wanna take a break or you guys wanna bring in IHS right away?
they're out there
Break.
waiting.
We'll take a break. We'll take a 10-minute break. Be quick.
And he's gonna get you that spreadsheet that's gonna show quarter to quarter.